Good morning, Yankees universe. Welcome back to another episode of the Yankees Morning Brew on this Tuesday, July 30th. Like always, I'm your guy, Hector, joined by my bestie, the co-host, Grace Monroe. All you Yankee fans, wake up and get your coffee. Grace, how are you feeling on this MLB trade deadline episode?
I am trying to calm down. I have all my little security blankets. I got my Jason Dominguez shirt on. I got my pinstripes on. I got my championship jacket right here, baby. Let's go. All the good luck, all the juju. We're not trading Jason Dominguez. We're not trading Jason Dominguez. We're not trading Jason Dominguez. Okay? Okay.
No, facts. Say it 10 more times so the people know it's true. Joe, throw the W's in the chats right now. Throw the W's because Grace Monroe is speaking what the Yankee fans are feeling right now. No Gleyber Torres. And like you said, good luck energy. I got my Benny the Jet Rodriguez jersey on from the movie The Sandlot. If you know, you know. So definitely Benny the Jet is bringing me some good luck today on this trade deadline special. And like always, help us out. We are on our way to 5K subscribers. If you guys can, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I put the link in the chat. If you guys can, make sure you guys go to latinosports.com. Help us out. I'm a contributor over there with Latino Sports. Shout out to the people over there. They do amazing work. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter as well. All of the links are in the bio of this video, in the description of this video, I should say. What I'm talking about, bio. Let's shout out the chat real quick. Eunice is in the building. Eunice, how you doing? Salute, salute, salute. The Nosebleed Sexton is in the building. Big time Jerry Cadell, how you doing? Oh, my guy 01LS1Z2ADABX says good morning, everybody. Joey M is in the building. My friend Jonathan is in the building. Big time Lou is in the building. Richie Rivera, how you doing, my guy? Ronnie Green is in the building. Shout out to David Cohen. Of course, one of my favorites, Anna Marie is in the building as well. Frankie Rivera. And like I said, this is the MLB trade deadline. The Yankees made some moves. Giancarlo Stanton came back. Jazz Chism is looking amazing in a Yankees uniform. Bye-bye to Jahmai Jones and bye-bye to J.D. Davis. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. But no, credit to those guys. They were serviceable for the New York Yankees. But it's next man up mentality. We got Big G back. We got Jazz Chism from the Miami Marlins. Grace, let's start off the convo with Jazz. So I'm gonna throw it over to you. Give us your thoughts on number 13 playing third base. How you feeling?
First of all, I know a lot of people out there were mad that he took the number 13. As a huge fan, as a stan, as an apologist for Alex Rodriguez right here. This girl right here.
Oh, shout out to my guy, Hello. The Rookies media is in the chat. Hello. Hope all is well. Hope the family is doing good. Shout out to the rookies over there. They do amazing work. Go ahead, Grace. My fault.
I'm a huge Alex Rodriguez fan. Huge, okay? And I got no problem with it. Y'all, they are not going to retire Alex Rodriguez's number. Unless they retire it for Jazz Chisholm or somebody else who wears it. They're not going to do that for A-Rod. We have to let it go. We have to move on. It is a great number. Jazz wanted it. I've yet to hear if he contacted A-Rod to get his blessing or not. But we know he has Derek Jeter's blessing. I also heard that they called CC Sabathia and asked him, and CC said, absolutely.
Yep.
And that's all I need to know because CC was my boy, still my boy. Love him. And, he wants what's best for the Yankees. And so with his ringing endorsement, I was like, okay, if CC says we're going to roll, like we're going to be cool. Jazz comes out and instantly just clicks in with the team perfectly. And I saw the way he was acting with Aaron Jones. Oh my God, am I okay? Am I okay?
No, you're good.
Aaron Judge in the dugout, and I'm like, oh, okay. I see how it's vibing. I see how it's going.
Yeah.
He made some plays. Like He had less than an hour since he got off the plane. This man threw on his jersey and went out to play center field. Like, he was doing everything he possibly could.
Mm-hmm.
Then after the game, oh, no, let me say, this man, when he stole a base, I think I like died. I think I blacked out.
I think the entire Yankee universe had a collective sigh of relief seeing Jazz Chism still third base like that.
The way he popped up at third, I thought, there's nobody on the Yankees who does that. There's nobody on the Yankees who has that level of athleticism, not even Anthony Volpe, who is our best base runner, right? We now have two guys on the team who are in the 98th percentile of base running. Anthony Volpe and Jazz Chism. Like, this is a huge weapon for the Yankees. Huge. And then his post-game, I mean, I'm skipping over a lot of stuff. I know you're going to get in here and add it.
No, it's good. It's good, Grace. Keep going.
The post-game interview where he said that the prime minister from the Bahamas contacted him and was so proud of him. The way he's representing his country, the way that the Bahamas loves the Yankees, and how he's so excited and so proud. I am so happy for him to find a place where there's fans in the stands every game. He did mention something about how it was hard to play in Miami because there wasn't as many fans, and the electricity in the stands, even on the road for the Yankees, as we well know, is like none other. So go ahead, Hector. I'll jump back in. I have a lot more to say.
No. And, as you said, because all Yankee fans, won a 3-game winning streak. It's been a long time. We should have won that first game in Boston. That's another conversation later on in the show. But we should have won that game. We're on a 3-game winning streak. This is the first time the Yankees have won this many games in a row ever since that 4-game stretch in June before we went through what we went through right now, right? But when you look at it, Jazz Chism, he's saying everything right. He's handling it right. I want to shout out Jacob Pachuzzi, who just came in the building. Shout out to my guy, Jacob. Hope all as well, Jacob. The speed he adds. You heard the comments from Aaron Judge. His versatility. I'm going to give him a pass for that misplay in Fenway off the Green Monster. That's the first time I think he's played in Fenway. So I'm going to give him a pass on that. But seeing him at third base, seeing how athletic he is at third base, yes, he wasn't able to make that play towards the end of the game, but he stopped the ball from going down the third base line. He held it into a single when it could have been a double. So for him to get to that ball just shows you how much athleticism it has. This is a guy that was a former shortstop being brought up. He moved to second base. You can see he can play third base. He's played center field. His speed is one of his best tools that he has. Hopefully he could work on whatever kinks he has in his swing so he could start driving the ball just a little bit more. I love what I'm seeing out of Jazz Chism, and I love the energy that the team has now, right? All those guys that were struggling, once the trade happened for Jazz Chism, they all started performing, right? Alex Verdugo has turned back into the hitter he was at the beginning of the season. Gleyber Torres, over his last 20 games, not even his last 10 games. I want to bring up his stats because I want to give flowers when it's time to give flowers to everybody. I like to be crucial and critical on people, but sometimes you got to give folks their flowers. And when you look at Gleyber Torres, over his last 21 games, Gleyber Torres is hitting .317. He has 3 home runs. He has 12 RBIs. Yes, he's going to give you some errors like he had in yesterday's game. That's not good. That's not perfect. But when you're able to move Gleyber Torres down in the lineup, because you're adding John Carlos Stanton and you're adding a Jazz Chism, this allowed Gleyber Torres to do damage in the middle of the lineup. Is he going to be the ultimate solution? I'm not sure. We have the trade deadline. We have to see if the Yankees are going to make some trades. Let's see if they keep Gleyber Torres, or let's see if they flip him for a bullpen arm. This all is going to come down to Brian Cashman and how he wants to operate. But I want to just bring up this graphic one time just to read off Jazz Chism's numbers. 251 batting average, 15 home runs, 53 RBIs. He had 2 home runs yesterday against Philly. He has an OPS of 745. With runners in scoring position, Jazz Chism is hitting over 330. And that's something that we have struggled with. Outside of Juan Soto, outside of Aaron Judge, who's having a phenomenal season, those been our best hitters with runners in scoring position. Now that you add a third hitter in Jazz Chism, and you could tell, just like Grace said, the comments that he said, it was hard to play in Miami because there's not that many fans. But one metric that you could point at is the difference between his regular batting average and his batting average with runners in scoring position. That goes to show you that when there's runners on base on second or third, he locks in, and that's when you get the best version of him. So maybe in New York, having that extra pressure, having the fan base demanding the best and most from you, maybe that will help Jazz Chism focus, and we'll probably see the better version of Jazz Chism. Hopefully he stays healthy. I'm not gonna lie, seeing him running to that second baseman for the Red Sox the other day when he banged his jaw, that was a bit scary. You know, one thing about Jazz Chism is that he does have injury concerns, and he has been injured in his career. So hopefully he stays healthy, knock on wood, and so far so good. We got over 163 people in the building. If you guys can, smack the like button, hit the subscribe button. And on the prospects that was traded away, Augustine Ramirez, Jared Serna, I wish those young guys the best, especially Augustine Ramirez. He has done events with Frank Luna. Shout out to Frank Luna, who does a lot of events with minor league players, helping the fans meet these future Yankees. And shout out to Gus. You know, Augustine, he's the reason Jazz Chism is here. He was the top prospect that went back to Miami. Hopefully he turns out to be a stud for the Miami Marlins. I'm happy that he's in the National League and not the American League, so he doesn't hurt the Yankees that much. What's your thoughts on that, Grace?
One of the other best hitters that we have with runners in scoring position is Giancarlo Stanton, who we just got back yesterday, right? Yes. We got to give him a little time to reacclimate, but he did get on base yesterday. So let's give the man some credit. He did get on base yesterday, which is more than, well, anyway, I'm not even going to say anything, but let me not. But Giancarlo Stanton, Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, Jazz Chism, we are doing really well with runners in scoring position. Let's also talk about Austin Wells with runners in scoring position. This man is absolutely crushing it. And I told y'all last week to put him on the radar for Rookie of the Year. And guess what they said on the broadcast? They said Austin Wells is among the top 3 players in the league with WAR among rookies. He is actually turning in stats better than Adley Rutschman. This is not hyperbole. This is facts. If you look it up, over the last 40 games or the last month, he has been better than Adley Rutschman. This is how good this kid has turned. I shouldn't say kid. This man has turned it on since June. And when Trevino got injured, they were forced to give him every day at bats. Very rarely has he had a day off. We had Carlos Narvaez start a couple times for him to give him just some rest. But this guy has absolutely flourished while Trevino has been on the IL. It's been amazing what he's done. Him in the cleanup spot, and then now with Giancarlo, they left him in the cleanup, put Giancarlo down at 5. Oh my God, the lineup felt so much longer. Oh my God, right? And now you can do the left, right, like they love to do, which is obviously everyone would love to do that. The balance, the power, the threats. I mean, Wells has been contributing huge.
I just wanted to add on to some context because I know some Baltimore Oriole fans, if they're watching this, they're like, Austin Wells better than Adley Rutschman this season. What are you talking about? Check this out.
Don't shoot the messenger.
And Austin Wells' last 34 games, Austin Wells is hitting 300. He has a 300 batting average, 7 home runs, 20 RBIs, and he has an OPS, 977 OPS. That's in his last 34 games. Grace, do you want to take a guess what Adley Rutschman is doing in his last 30 games? Do you want to take a wild guess? What's his batting average? Off the top of your head, just throw out a number.
Less than 300.
Adley Rutschman in his last 30 games, 65. He has a 200 batting average. He has 3 home runs, 8 RBIs, and only 17 runs scored in 30 games. And this is in his last 30 games that he has played. And like I said, Austin Wells is hitting 300, Austin Wells has 7 home runs, basically double, and 20 RBIs, more than double than what Adley Rutschman has in the same time span. Granted, you do have to play an entire season, right? I do understand that, right? And we've seen a sample size of Austin Wells. This is just a vacuum size of what Austin Wells has given us. We have to see what he could do over the rest of the season, right? We have 2 months left of the season. We have to see what Austin Wells can do. But ever since Austin Wells has become the everyday catcher, ever since Jose Trevino has gone down, this team, this offense, we started winning games, and it hasn't been by much, but he has been the only hitter in this lineup that's giving protection to Juan Soto and to Aaron Judge, right? So now that we have Giancarlo Stanton back, now that you add Jazz Chisholm, hopefully what we've seen from Alex Verdugo and from Gleyber Torres, hopefully this is something that they can build on and carry for the rest of the season, not just a hiccup, a blip on the radar. And also, we got Jason Dominguez in the minor leagues making his way back. Say it, Grace. We have who?
Jason Dominguez.
That's a fact. Jason Dominguez. We were told that he'll at the end of August, maybe September, maybe he would even come back. But there's a possibility that the Martian could be added to this team sooner rather than later. And it has to make all of us Yankee fans feel excited. If you're happy for the Martian, throw the UFOs in the chat. I'm going to need to see some UFOs in the chat right now. Drop the UFO or the Martian emoji in the trap. Go ahead, Grace.
I said to my husband, when we were watching spring training, my husband, who, mind you, he's not really a Yankees fan. He supports me, but he's not really a Yankees fan. But the Yankees are always on. So he kind of, osmosis, he kind of knows a little. During spring training, my husband, I just think it's important to point out that he just doesn't have a dog in the hunt. You know what I mean? Mm. He was like, who's that? He's good. He was talking about Austin Wells. Austin Wells has been my husband's favorite player all year. He called it. But I declare that the other day I was like, Austin Wells is my favorite Yankee right now. Not pitching, because obviously Daddy Cole. Austin Wells has been my favorite Yankee. And that is until Jason Dominguez comes back. Because he is my favorite Yankee. Yeah. Let's go. If anything happens to him today, I will never recover. Y'all all need to come check on your girl. Because if anything happens to Jason Dominguez today, I'm not going to be okay. All right? This guy is our leadoff hitter. Yeah. When he is ready, when he is healthy, the ideal lineup is Jason Dominguez at the top. Okay? Mm-hmm. Talk about extending the lineup. No offense to Alex Verdugo. You know, I know he's been making some improvements and everything. Yeah. But we're not going to sign him long term. So it is what it is. Mm-hmm. Jason Dominguez at the top of the lineup is going to be the best thing that the Yankees have seen besides Aaron Judge. I can't even say that anymore. Because we have so many good things happening right now, y'all. What happened? I hear your phone. Anything?
No. I'm just it's no. It's my Instagram notifications going off because that video that I put out is still getting hits. Go ahead, Grace.
But this goes back to what I was talking about earlier in the year, okay? Because we're talking about Jason Dominguez. Let me tell you, this goes back to what I talked about before the season even started, okay? The recipe for a championship, okay? The new recipe for a championship, not the 90s recipe necessarily. Mm-hmm. The new recipe is veterans with experience who have a lot of power, who are performing to their baseball card or above. Rookies who are performing way over what they were expected to perform to. And people who are also on the roster who aren't being paid the big money, big contracts, who are also playing above their head, right? Mm-hmm. Right now on the Yankees. And you got to have magic, right? Right now on the Yankees, we have the current Cy Young winning American League pitcher. We have not one, but 2 American League MVP candidates this year in the top of our lineup. We have not one, but two Rookie of the Year candidates on our roster. Luis Hill and Austin Wells. So right now, all I'm telling you right now is on our team, 2024 Yankees, we have 2 MVPs, 2 Rookies of the Year, and a Cy Young winner. Are you serious? That is why Brian Cashman has got to be on the phones right now making the moves, because this is the time. The Orioles have not taken care of their business. We can take this division, we can take the league, we can take the whole damn thing with a couple moves. We still need to get a reliever, y'all. We got to get a reliever, and honestly, I think we might need a starting pitcher.
I'm looking at I'll keep the Twitter feed refreshing, right? I did get a notification from ESPN literally a few minutes ago saying that the New York Yankees, they're locked in trying to add 2 things: starting pitching and relief help. So those are the 2 priorities for the New York Yankees now. The priority for the Yankees now are another starting pitcher and another reliever coming out that pen. And both of those things, I can say I welcome it, right? Yes, I know a lot of Yankee fans, they want to address third base and they want to address the infield. I get that. But I think right now, the priority for the New York Yankees, it needs to be adding a reliever. We cannot, now that we add another third baseman or a center fielder or another hitter in Jazz Chism, that's awesome. It helps out our lineup. It removes having DJ LeMahieu, who's hitting below 200 from the lineup. That right there makes our lineup better. We need to add somebody who could step in and be a closer, and it's not Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes cannot be the closer for this team. I think the perfect option is going to be Pete Fairbanks from the Tampa Bay Rays. He's a free agent after this year. He's just a rental. And when you look at the asking price, or when you look at the going price for relievers, San Diego traded with Tampa Bay. They traded at Tampa Bay, send Adams over to San Diego. That they got back 3 of the top 15 prospects from San Diego. Granted, Adams, he has some years of control, but that's the going rate. That's the asking price for a top reliever coming out your pen. So Yankee fans, we need to have the conversation. Are we willing to trade Spencer Jones for a rental piece of the bullpen? Are we willing to trade Spencer Jones? My guy Greedy Pinstripes on Twitter, he brought up a great point. All these trade proposals, including Spencer Jones for rental and Flaherty, are absolutely ridiculous. The answer should be no, period. Jones for a rental should be a fireable offense. And I bring that up to say this, right? In the offseason,
Oh, Hector, you're muted. He was cooking too. All right. Well, what I'm going to go ahead and jump in and say before you even finish this is George would do it. George would do it. And I'll tell you why. There is no cost too great to pay for a championship. Now, if you trade Spencer Jones for a rental and you don't win a championship, that's the gamble, right? Then you're looking back and you're saying, we shouldn't have traded Spencer Jones. But if you trade Spencer Jones, you go on to win a championship with an elite closer that we need. Then you're not looking back saying, oh, I wish we had Spencer Jones, right? So is there a cost to a championship? The thing is, it's a gamble. I think George would do it, A. B, I'm not saying that I would do it. I'm saying I think George would do it. B, I want to say that I don't think Spencer Jones is as highly rated across MLB as we think, as we believe he is. We think he's this, top, everybody's going to want Spencer Jones guy. I'm not even sure if that's true of the conversations that they're having. I heard that he was number 81 in the top 100. Is that true? You there? I can't hear you. Okay, I can't hear you. I heard that he was number 81 in the top 100. So even though he is considered to be top 5 of our prospects, I'm not sure that he is bringing as much value nationally as we think he is. And I mean, I don't know. I'm not on the conversation.
When you look at Spencer Jones at the start of the season, He was ranked as the 81st prospect. They haven't put out the new rankings of the prospect. That normally happens in August or in the middle of August. But Baseball America, which is the top rating system, said in spring training, granted, their opinion may have changed, but in spring training, Baseball America said at the end of the season, Spencer Jones would be the #1 prospect in all of Major League Baseball. That's what Baseball America said in spring training. That was their prediction, that Spencer Jones was going to be the #1 prospect in all of Major League Baseball. Granted, their opinion could have changed because of how Spencer Jones is performing. But I'm telling you right now, when they had their predictions going into spring training, and this is before Spencer Jones turned into Aaron Judge in spring training. In spring training, Baseball America, Baseball Perspective said that Spencer Jones at the end of the year will be the top #1 prospect in all of Major League Baseball. And that's why other teams, when the Yankees were calling for the Corbin Burns, when the Yankees were calling for Dylan Cease, all those teams, the first prospect they asked for, it wasn't the Martian, it was Spencer Jones. That was the prospect that every team is asking for the New York Yankees. So that's why I bring up the question. Yes, some fans may see him performing right now at the minors and they may not be impressed. He is striking out at a 37% clip, but also he started his season in the minors injured. He missed like the first month of the season, so he had to start again. He had to restart his spring training. I'm not trying to find excuses. I'm just trying to lay out all the context, right? Yeah. But if we're trying to win a championship, right, Spencer Jones is our tradable asset. And it's going to come down, or the Yankees comfortable. We already traded Augustine Ramirez, who was in our top 5 when it comes to prospects. Now the Yankees have to ask that question. Are they comfortable trading Spencer Jones for a rental piece when they turned down Corbin Burns, when they turned down Dylan Cease? And that's what I wanted to ask Yankee fans. How comfortable are you trading a top prospect for a rental when we could have had Corbin Burns, when we could have had Dylan Cease? And I understand hindsight is 50-50, but that's some egg on your face.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm not opposed to trading Spencer Jones. I think I would want to maximize my return. If my best chip is Spencer Jones, then I'm probably not going to trade him just for one guy that's a rental. It's going to have to be a package, maybe with some pieces that have more controllable years along with the rental or something. I mean, if that's my only chip, then I'm going to hold on to it until I get the absolute most value for it. So also
not Jack Flaherty, Flaherty. If not Pete Fairbanks, if it's an Andrew Miller, I'm doing it for Andrew Miller. I'm trading Spencer Jones for Andrew. If it's Tyreek Skubal, I'm trading Spencer Jones for Tyreek Skubal. I'm not trading Spencer Jones for Jack Flaherty, a guy that was tossed to baseball purgatory almost a year ago because Cleveland didn't want him. St. Louis picked him up when nobody wanted him. So I'm not trading Spencer Jones for Jack Flaherty. He's having an amazing season this year. Credit to Jack Flaherty rebuilding his stock in Major League Baseball, but I'm not trading Spencer Jones for Jack Flaherty. I'm not trading Spencer Jones for Fairbanks from the Tampa Bay Rays either. As much as we need a closer and as much as 100 miles per hour coming out of that bullpen for Fairbanks will help, he's just a rental, and I'm not trading Spencer Jones for a rental reliever. Now, like I said, if it's for Skubal, if it's for Tyreek Skubal, absolutely, I'm trading Spencer Jones for Tyreek Skubal. If it was Isaac Paredes from the Tampa Bay Rays, I may have to bite after. I know he got traded to the Cubs, but that would have cost me because not just am I giving up Spencer Jones, but I'm trading him to Tampa Bay. Now he's going to hurt me in the American League. That was my hesitations when it came to Paredes.
Are you ready for a conspiracy theory?
Go ahead. Let me grab my tinfoil hat. Let me just say shout out to the chat. My guy Ghost is in the building. Ghost, how you doing? Our bestie Erica Garcia is in the building. Erica, how you doing? My brother Keith Saunders is in the building. Keith, how you doing?
Photo.
Salute to you, Keith. Yeah, Keith he's looking GQ over there. Shout out to my guy Keith. Frankie Rivera also says I wouldn't have traded Jones for 1 month rental for Burns either. Absolutely. Anna Marie is saying Priest grades. Absolutely. Brian Gustin says hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Absolutely. If you guys can hit the like hit the subscribe button. We got over 260 people in the building rocking with us, and we got 65 people on YouTube. We're sitting on 38 likes. Smack that like button on YouTube. Let's get into the 60s. Go ahead, Grace.
So here's my conspiracy theory.
Go ahead.
The other night, after Clay Holmes blew it, and we were all losing our collective minds, right?
We were.
Aaron Boone, us? Aaron Boone, excuse me, I'm so sorry.
You're good. You're good.
I'm like, anyway. Aaron Boone called Louis Hill into his office. Now, why would he call Hill into his office after Clay Holmes blew the save? Now, this is a conspiracy theory, y'all, okay? This is just me, like, reading the tea leaves and kind of, like, trying to figure out what's going on. They asked Hill, what did you talk about? Hill said, none ya. None ya business, okay? It was an A-B conversation, so see your way out of it, okay? So, yeah, I got all the 90s sayings. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. What if Boone, who obviously has been talking to Cashman, as well as Judge talking to Cashman about these trades and everything else, what if they said, yo, how do you feel about closing? What would you think about closing? I wouldn't put it past them. He has closer stuff. He's got swing and miss stuff. And, you know, we've been talking all year about possible innings limits with him. Mm-hmm. At the least, they were checking in with him and being like, how are you feeling? Are you tired? What is your plan going forward? We need to know so we can adjust our plan, how we're going to attack the trade deadline. This is my conspiracy theory. Okay, so that is our ace in the hole. Right now, we need him to start. Okay?
Yeah.
If they get some starters or a starter, if they call up, this is why I wanted them to call up Jack Neely. So we would be.
I think he's going to be. I think Jack Neely will be up here after the trade deadline. I think the Yankees are just waiting to make roster space.
Yeah. Okay. That's true. Yeah, I guess. But I mean, I just wish we knew what we had. Like, I guess they feel like they know.
Yeah.
But
no, but I'm right there with you, Grace. When you look at the possibilities of how this team could look, when it comes to Luis Hill, I would love that. In a hypothetical world, I would love that. My only hesitations is the New York Yankees. We had a young pitcher that came through our organization who we messed up because we were going back and forth between the bullpen and the rotation, and that was Jabba Chamberlain. And I had the chance to interview Jabba Chamberlain, and he said the one regret that he has in his career is the job rules and how the Yankees used him. He said that if it was up to him, he would have just chose one lane. He would have just chose either being a reliever or being a starting pitcher, because that messes with you not only mentally, but it wears and tears on your body. If you're not used to pitching every day or every other day, and you're used to a routine of every 5 days or every 6 days, that is going to mess with your body tremendously. There was a pitcher by the name of Sonny Toussaint. Toussaint. He was a pitcher with the Chicago White Sox, right? He was a starting pitcher, and then they moved him to the bullpen, right? Somebody that I know from my neighborhood up here, his father was his strength and conditioning coach back in the Dominican Republic. And what I heard from his son was that when the White Sox moved him from a starter to the bullpen, his fastball velocity dipped. Everything dipped because his body wasn't used to pitching out of the bullpen every day. It took him about almost a whole season in order to get comfortable, in order for his body to get used to that wear and tear. So that's my only hesitations with Luis Hill. One, he already has Tommy John, and I don't want to risk another injury. If you could map out a way that he can be used, that there's no injuries, copy, sign me up. But I'm speaking with Dane, shout out to our friend Dane Huber, who covers the Yankees prospect tremendously. He said that if he was to move to the bullpen, it wouldn't be being used as how Clay Holmes is used right now. He would be in the bullpen, pitch one day, wait 3 days for his throwing day, and then pitch another day. So he would be pitching every 3 days, not every day back to back. He wouldn't be able to pitch back to back just because they need to keep him on on the same routine as a starting pitcher. So his throw day, right, that's in the middle of his starts would be his second appearance. So he'll pitch,
Right,
he'll
makes sense.
sit out, he'll have his throw day, which would be in the game, and then he'll come back again. So that's how he'll have to be used if he were to be moved into the bullpen.
Interesting. Ooh, I don't know what they're gonna do. It's very interesting to see. He is doing so well. I think he's pitching better
He's pitching,
and deeper than we thought. I mean,
that his slider. I'm sorry, they pointed it out on the broadcast. I forgot what which pitcher for the Yankees showed them how to grip the slider, and Severino, who showed for the Mets, when they had that Subway Series, Severino showed them a different grip on the slider, and now you see the dip and the difference in his slider. That first start against the Mets, they lit him up, but that second start against the Mets, he was looking like the Luis Hill that we saw at the beginning of the season. So shout out to Severino. I know his teammates with the Mets weren't happy about that.
Pour some out for Sevy.
yeah. Again, shout out.
He's a mole in the Mets.
Shout out to chat. We got Ken Rosenthal in the building. Not sure if it's the real Ken Rosenthal, but if it's Ken Rosenthal, he says excellent shows. Keep up the motivation. Shout out to you, Kenny Rosenthal. If it's the real you, give me a job over there at Foul Territory. If it's him, give me a job. Y'all hiring? Take my resume.
Hey,
shout
don't
out
leave
to
me. What the heck?
Shout out. No, with me and Grace were combo package.
Oh, sure. Me and Grace. Yeah.
Yes, Grace and I are combo package. Shout out to Anna Marie in the chat as well. My guy Ness is in the building. Anthony D is in the building. My guy AD, how you doing? Hope all is well. AD says Rivera was not a real starter. He does have a 2-hit in the 2-3 run game. You talking about Mariano? Yeah, because Mariano came up as a starter, and then they moved him to the bullpen because he only had that one pitch. Shout out to Stephen B as well in the chat. Austin Cruz is in the building. Austin Cruz says not everyone can be like John Smokes and transition to the bullpen after being a starter for so long. That's why he's a Hall of Famer. Absolutely. Well, John Smokes is not he should be in the Hall of Fame if he's not in the Hall of Fame. I think he is in the Hall of Fame.
First of all, I think he is in the Hall of Fame. Second of all, how dare you bring up John Smoltz to me? I can't stand him.
I'm sorry, Grace. I apologize. I didn't mean to ruin your day.
Anytime he's on the broadcast, I'm like, oh God.
My guy Keith in the chat said Jabba should have stayed in the pen. Absolutely. And Jabba agrees with you. That Jabba says the one regret he has is the back and forth between the bullpen and the starting rotation. And if it was up to him, he would have just stuck with one lane. And he was great coming out that bullpen. He was the perfect heir apparent to Mariano. But again, injuries happen. And of course, he's not a fan of trampolines because he broke his ankle on the trampoline. So I asked Job, I was like, have you ever been back on a trampoline? He was like, absolutely not. He was like, why would you bring that up? so shout out to Jabba for that one. We got JJ back. We got JJ backstage. JJ, just hold on just a few more. We got just one more topic we're going to go through, and then we'll bring JJ up. Go ahead, Grace.
I just want to say, I don't really hate John Smoltz. He's a Yankee hater, and everything he says is biased. So that's why he'd be on my last nerve, but I don't really hate him. I don't really hate anybody, not even Gleyber Torres. I really don't.
No, big facts. Again, beautiful chat. If you guys can, please spam the like button, hit the subscribe button, spam the emojis in the chat. If you guys can, we are sitting at 4,434 subscribers on our way to 5K. So if you're watching us for the first time, hit the subscribe button for the people, for the y'alls, right? That's what it is. For the y'alls, hit the like button for the y'all.
All y'all,
all right.
Hit the like button.
So the next one, right? And I know we touched on it a little bit, but who stays and who goes? When you look at it, DJ LeMahieu right now is the odd man out. Yesterday was his 4th or 5th day in a row not playing. I know he came in as a late game replacement for Ben Rice, but DJ LeMahieu is a shell of his former self. My guy N116 on Twitter says, Brian Cashman, go out there and earn your paycheck today. You have 3 generational players in their prime. It's time to bolster this roster and get us to a championship. And I got to say, absolutely, because as of right now, you have Aaron Judge. You have Juan Soto. Yes, Garrett Cole was injured for the first half of the season, but he's starting to turn into shape, right? He started to find his form. You cannot waste the prime years of Aaron Judge and Garrett Cole. You cannot waste the short window you have with Juan Soto. You have to go out there and you have to add to this team. Now, who's he going to add? I don't know. That's yet to be found. That's yet to be answered. So I'm going to be looking at the Twitter feed right now. Grace Monroe, cook for the people. Let them know. If you had one phone line to Brian Cashman, what would that be?
Oh, one phone line. Y'all, I think we need pitching. Of course, I would like another bat. Of course, I would like to get, a third baseman. Although Jazz was great last night, to me, he still looked like a guy who was doing his best playing out of position. He's never played third base in Major League Baseball before. Of course, he did a great job, but we got to get him over to second, in my opinion. I would love to pick up another third baseman. I love Oswaldo Cabrera. He has been doing so well at the plate lately, but the thing about championship rosters is that the people they have on the bench would be starters on other clubs. That's what makes them so special, so hard to beat, so versatile, that depth. You got to have good players on the bench, not scrubs. That's the difference. And so I love Oswaldo. The thing that makes him have so much value is his versatility, right? And now that his bat has come alive, I don't want to make him cool off by benching him. However, if he could keep that energy on the bench, it would be such an asset to us going into the postseason. Having strong bench players, that's the goal, right? DJ, every time DJ is at bat, I die a little inside. I feel so bad for him. I actually want to cry because you know what he was. We know what he was. It's not the same energy for me as I had when Josh Donaldson would ground out again, or Aaron Hicks would strike out again, or Joey Gallo would strike out again. It's not the same, y'all. When DJ doesn't have success at the plate, it hurts me inside. It really hurts. It's sad. I hate it.
I would say, of course, a trade deadline episode or the trade deadline day would not be fitting without Michael Caputo in the chat screaming to Brian Cashman, if Jazz Chism is all the Yankees do for the trade deadline, this was a massive failure. And I gotta agree with him. You cannot just call Jazz Chism your only move at the trade deadline and think that you had a successful trade deadline. You have other holes. You got bullpen holes. You got starting pitching holes. And coming into this season, we already said it was a given that Brian Cashman was going to add to this team. And in spring training, if you was to tell me that at the trade deadline, the only piece that Brian Cashman adds is Jazz Chism, I would look at you in your face and tell you that that's an absolute failure from Brian Cashman. He needs to add more. We need a reliever and we need a starting pitcher. Now, I'm checking out on Twitter. It's been 12 hours since the last trade has happened. I think the trade deadline is today it's at 2:00, right? Or it's at 6 p.m. today.
I think it's at 5 p.m. Central, so 6 p.m.
so
Eastern.
6 p.m. Eastern. All right, so it's 6 p.m. today. I know there's other content creators who are live. I'll be joining Jason from 161 River Ave after this show for about 30 minutes. Grace and I would join him and just chop it up with him for 30 minutes. But we got JJ backstage. I want to bring up JJ so we can get into the conversation. Even though JJ's a Met fan, he called me yesterday to talk about the show. And I was like, bro, we're just going to talk about trades and hypotheticals. And he was like, this is the only time I'm rooting for the Yankees because you guys are facing the Phillies. So I just wanted to let that be known before I bring up JJ. I hold all the receipts. I keep every receipt that's out there. So JJ, let me get a thumbs up. Let me know you're ready to rock out. My guy is good. So let me bring him up. Let me find the three cam, bingo, bango. JJ, how you doing, bro?
Good, Heck. How's it going, Brody?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. Thank you for joining us. Even though JJ is a Met fan, my guy JJ is super knowledgeable when it comes to Major League Baseball. And there's two teams in New York City, and we do have a Mets show on this channel, so we have to have somebody from the Mets talk about the trade deadline. So, broski, How you feeling? I know you got Jesse Winker. I know you added a bullpen piece. Are you sold yet, or do you have to go out to add some more? Let's get your thoughts real quick before you give us your comments about Jazz Chism.
We are definitely not sold yet. Absolutely not. We have a lot of work to do in the next couple of hours. A lot of work to do. We need a starter and a reliever. And it's obviously you saw like the Kikuchi trade. You saw the Kopech trade. It's going to take a lot to give up a starter. So it's going to take a lot because we're going to have to give up at least, if we want Schoolboy, we're going to have to give up 3-4 top 10 prospects. If we want Crochet, it's the same thing. But then you look at guys like Tyone, Fairbanks, might get it for a little bit less. However, trading with Chicago a few years ago really effed us up because that was obviously the Javier Baez trade when we gave up Pete Crow Armstrong, who is absolutely killing it in Chicago. Would have been very nice to have him. And obviously, most people know trading with Tampa Bay is like trading with the devil. So they're always going to get something out of it no matter what. That's just how their organization is. So, yeah, we got a lot of work to do.
And when you look at the trade market just in general, it's a seller's market. It's not a buyer's market. If you're a team that you have a reliever that you're willing to trade, you're going to get back a decent haul. Like JJ said, teams are trading away some of their top prospects in order to get mid-level talent. And that's because the market is very bare right now. There's literally 5 or 6 teams that are completely out of it. You got other teams that think they're still in the hunt when it comes to that extra wild card, right? So this is where the GMs, this is where they earn their paychecks. This is where they earn their bonuses, their yachts that they have in the Hamptons. This is where Brian Cashman earns all that. It's going to come down to who's willing to make the move. It's playing chicken. You guys know the game chicken, 2 cars driving down the road, going head on. That's what's happening right now in these conversations. Brian Cashman, he's trying to find whatever GM out there that's going to give him whatever he wants and his asking price and his range. Let me highlight some more chats before we continue. Erica Garcia says, these teams know that they have all the leverage. Look at what the Rays are doing. The deadline needs to be pushed to August 15th because of the scarcity of teams willing to move people because of the playoffs. Absolutely, Erica. I know the trade deadline is technically not the halfway point of the season. It's more like the 3/4 mark. I would move it back to August 15th because of everything that Erica said, especially when you got rid of the waiver, the non-waiver trade deadline or whatever it was called. Once you got rid of that, you should have moved the regular trade deadline back a week or back 2 weeks, especially when you're adding extra wild card spots. You got to make it easier for teams that want to, even the teams that are in it. You get if it's August 15th and they're in the second wild card spot and they're not on the outside looking in, they're more willing to go all in at the trade deadline to bolster their roster in order to go all the way to the postseason. What's your thoughts on that, Grace? Thank you, David. The waiver wire. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, I totally agree. I wish they would push the trade deadline back. I mean, the wild card situation is just it's total chaos. I mean, the Rangers have a worse record than the Tampa Bay Rays. Tampa Bay is blowing up their team. They are selling off everything but what's nailed down. And the Rangers are just kind of standing pat because they have a better chance to not better chance, but they think they still have a chance to maybe win their division they are closer to winning their division than they are into getting into the last wild card spot. That's how crazy things are. I mean, I wish they would push the trade deadline back. I think it would be better for baseball. It would ensure maybe a more exciting postseason, which is what they want. They want more viewers, right? So I think they seriously need to consider that. I totally agree.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, and I see in the chat, right? This was something that when I saw it trending on Twitter, I scratched my head. And JJ, I want to get your thoughts, and you lead the convo with this. But Blake Snell, when has Blake Snell become a thing that people want to trade for Blake Snell now? I seen the Mets, I seen the Yankees are in on Blake Snell. JJ, talk to me, young man. You have a lot more brain shells in your mind than I do. So speak to me, young man. Walk me off the ledge. What's your thoughts on the Blake Snell rumors?
Don't even say that dude's name. If you
All right.
wanted Blake Snell, you would have signed him in the offseason. Period. And now what? You're going to give up 3 prospects to get him? Not to mention he walks the park. His whip is always outrageous. Not to mention that he's having, I'm pretty sure he's 0-6 with like a 5 ERA this year.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why he's struggling is because he was dumb enough to hold out, try to get more money, and look at how him and Monty have done this season because of Boris. Terrible. That's why they're both trade targets. It's their own fault for having this happen. And to move on to a different topic, because listening about Blake Snell makes me want to puke because I'm sick of hearing his name. Grace, you mentioned the American League wild card is chaos, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you know what it's like on my side of the league? Oh my God.
Yeah, it's horrible. Go ahead, JJ. Let Grace know.
Tell me.
People thought that the Mets Braves amazing race of 22 was amazing. The National League wild card race is incredible. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We basically have 9 potential contenders for the wild card.
And how many games separate them? Like 1.5 or 2 games, right?
Out of the 9 teams, the furthest back is 5 games. However, if we look at the American League wild card, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, and that's 6.5. And the 6.5 is the Tigers. And then it goes to the Blue Jays, who are in what I like to call full throttle. That's what the Blue Jays are right now. And the wild card's bananas.
Erica, if you're in the chat right now, Erica, check your Instagram because I just sent the link over to Erica so she could join us. Just because we're going to be rocking out to about like 12:15, 12:20, and Grace and I will be joining Jason over there on 161 for the rest of the trade deadline. So we want to make sure that we're able to be there in prop time. My guy Jonathan says, Mark Feinstein tea leaves. You got to shout out to the tea leaves, right? Suggests that the Giants won't trade Blake Snell today. But given the demand for pitching and relative lack of supply, a deal can still be ruled out. Chances of a Snell deal are at 25%. All right, Jonathan, thank you for the tea leaves. You got to always shout out the tea leaves. Grace, what's your thoughts on this Blake? Go ahead.
I don't believe people are really gonna fight over Blake Snell. I always look at the Boris clients news rumors with with a eye of scrutiny because I know that they like to spread false rumors to make the stock go up or to make his brand seem better or more in demand. He's gonna probably decline the club option after this year and go into free agency again and try to get a better contract. I mean, who knows? Maybe he won't. I don't know. But I don't know. I don't believe that. I can't believe that. But if people are truly clamoring over starting pitching like that, then why aren't actually, I think we are shopping Nestor Cortez. If we're not going to be using him in the postseason, he still has, I believe, 1 year, I heard. And then we could get back some super top prospects. If the price is that high, let's get in on it. Let's get ourselves some top prospects, especially if they're planning to trade Spencer Jones. Trade Spencer Jones, get back 3 top 10 MLB prospects. Number 1 versus 3 top 10s. I would take that.
Yeah, and it's smart from Brian Cashman. If he's going to trade some prospects away, and if they're not 100% sold on Nestor Cortez, there's a team out there that you could probably get at least 1 top 15 prospect back, especially when you look at the amount of control that Nestor Cortez has. He is going to be very cheap for the next 3 to 4 years. So if you're a team out there that wants a starting pitcher, that wants a lefty with controllable years in the National League, I think Nestor Cortez would be a valid option for a team in the National League that has a big ballpark. A team in the American League, I'm not too sure because he gives up home run balls. But if he moves to the National League, he moves to the bigger ballparks, he could definitely turn into what AJ Burnett turned into at the end of his career when he went to Pittsburgh. Being in that bigger ballpark, AJ Burnett thrived pitching with the Pittsburgh Pirates. If you guys remember, he was an all-star for that 1 year, one of those years he was with Pittsburgh. But this is the question that Erica has, and I'll toss it over to JJ also because it concerns both of our teams. But this is what Erica says. The problem is that if you don't trade for starting pitcher, then are you comfortable with the rotation that you currently have going into the playoffs? And JJ, I got to ask you, as a Met fan,
That's a loaded question.
I'll toss to the Grace. I know Kodai Senga, he's done for the year. Are you comfortable and are you confident in the starting rotation that you guys have going down this stretch? If this is the guys you're going to war with, and then Grace, you'll have the same question. Go ahead, JJ.
All right. So that's a very loaded question. And by the way, it's actually kind of funny, Hector, how you said you were going to be here. You're going to be going with Jason 161 for 30 minutes. You're now going with him for 4 hours. So you got to make up your mind.
No. I messed up. Yeah, go ahead, JJ.
All right. But anyway, back to this Mets rotation. The guys that I'm comfortable with are Severino. By the way, I know you wish you still had him.
Oh, God. I didn't want him to leave.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you give the man a new change of scenery and a beard. You see what that can do to somebody.
All right, JJ.
If y'all don't shut up about the beard.
All right,
okay,
get rid of the policy. Seriously.
Y'all are just babies.
All right, JJ. All right. Are you comfortable with your rotation?
All right. Back to the rotation. Severino, I'm comfortable with. He's been phenomenal this year. He's basically the ace. Minaya, he's been solid. Guy does give up a little too many home runs. He's an 8 to 10K strikeout guy. So that's a guy I want to go to war with. Plus, he has a lot of experience. But then we go further down the list. David Peterson has had one bad start all year, and it was against the Braves. They completely tagged him. It was, I think, his one bad start all year long. Jose Budo, a guy that could potentially be either a starter or in the bullpen. Taylor McGill, I wish we get rid of him immediately. That dude is just incredibly frustrating to watch. Quintana, that one, I'm not comfortable with Jose Quintana at all, if you want me to be honest with you. And then we go a little bit further into our rotation. You got some guys like, Manaya's pitching today, Severino's pitching Wednesday. Obviously, McGill's pitching Friday. So I'm kind of comfortable with this rotation, but I feel like we need a little bit more. Senga going down sucks. That is the last thing this team needed, was Kodai going down. But it's all about how you're going to recover from this and how you're going to adjust to it, because this rotation was good before Senga, and there is no denying that whatsoever. But am I comfortable with it, though? No. I need one more starter, and I need like a Crochet or a Skubal or a Tyone before I'm really saying, okay, these are the guys that I want to go to war with.
All right. Grace, I'll toss it over to you. But before that, Patrick Franks, my guy, Patty Franks says, Hector, what's up, my guy? Yo, JJ, what it do? And Irish greetings for the beautiful Grace Monroe. Shout out to my guy, Patrick Franks. Franks, you got some rye bread and some pastrami? I guess that's what Irish people eat. That's what my mom says. Shout out to Ultra Cowboy fan in the building as well. Yeah, me and my girlfriend, we took my mom to Stew and Leonard's, up in Yonkers, and got her some Irish soda bread because she's a big fan of that. Go ahead, Grace.
Shout out to Ireland and all the Irish people everywhere. So I think that the Yankees rotation has question marks on every single pitcher. Okay, so we've got Garrett Cole, which he's our ace, he's our guy, right? He's my daddy. Okay,
not against us.
He has been trying to come back, right, without having a spring training and recovering from a serious injury that could have been a lot worse, and we're knocking on wood that it's going to be okay. He's still trying to come back into form, okay? So there's a little bit of question mark there. You got Luis Hill, who is awesome, but he's a little bit of a question mark because of the innings limits, because of the possibility of him tiring out. He's recovering from Tommy John as well. It's his first season back, so that's a little bit of a question mark. We have Carlos Rodon, who his last couple of outings have been really, really, really promising. However, you cannot ignore his struggles that he's had. And so that's a little bit of a question mark. Then we got Marcus Stroman. He's looking a little tired. I love Marcus Stroman. He's not really he's more of like an agility style pitcher, which you don't typically start those types of pitchers in the playoffs. So that's a question mark. Then you got Nestor Cortez. He's a question mark. You then got Schmidt's coming back, But who knows what he's going to look like when he comes back off of his injury? He's a question mark. You got Will Warren in the AAA, right? You're thinking, oh, we're going to call up Will Warren maybe. Well, he's still a question mark. He hasn't really done anything in Major League Baseball yet. Every single pitcher has a question mark, okay? We need pitching, period.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, Grace. When you look at Garrett Cole is the only one that I can pencil in and say that I'm 100% confident in. And even with Garrett Cole, there's some question marks because he missed half of the season. JJ brought up the numbers. He's horrible against the Mets. He's horrible against the Red Sox. So that's concerns right there when you look at Garrett Cole. Then when you look at Carlos Rodon, which version of Carlos Rodon are we getting? With Carlos Rodon, it's hit or miss, is Mr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde. You don't know which version you're going to get. Marcus Stroman as well. For the first half of the season, Marcus Stroman was amazing. Now we reached to the point where Marcus Stroman tends to find a little bit of fatigue and fizzle out. Hopefully he can revitalize himself. And if I'm the Yankees, I'm letting Marcus Stroman miss a couple of starts so he could recharge his battery. We don't know what we're going to do with Nestor Cortez, so that's a question mark. Clark Smith, when he comes back, is he going to be the same Clark Smith that we saw at the beginning of the season, or will he regress because he needs time to ramp things up? Because when he started the season, Clark Smith, his first 3 or 4 starts weren't pretty. They were very messy, and then he found his groove and he figured it out and he locked in. So there's a lot of question marks that we have, like you said, Grace. So it's going to come down to Brian Cashman, and it's going to come down to David Stern, what they do for both of their teams, because both of our squads, both the Yankees and the Mets, they need the same thing. They need a starting pitcher and they need another top end reliever coming out of that bullpen. So it's going to come down. Is David Stern comfortable with giving up prospects when he's not comfortable with that? He has a track record of not willing to trade prospects, and Brian Cashman has that same track record. Brian Cashman, he has a history of being unwilling to trade prospects unless Hal Steinbrenner calls him up and says, you know what, get that deal done. And I'm going to need Hal Steinbrenner to be more present this trade deadline than he has ever been before in his history being in charge of the New York Yankees. What's your thoughts on that, JJ? And then toss it over to Grace. And shout out to the chat as well. We got 371 people rocking out with us. Appreciate all of you guys who are in the building. We got 70 people watching on YouTube. If you guys can, smack the like button on YouTube. Go ahead, JJ.
All right. So first things first, I forgot Clark Schmidt existed. That's the first one. I remember watching that dude last year. Oh my God. He had like a 10 ERA. That dude was terrible.
Well, he was pitching to a ERA below 250. He had a sub 250 ERA this year before he went down.
Not too bad. But here's my thing with the Yankees. You said Hal Steinbrenner needs to be more aggressive with these prospects and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the thing that you mentioned, obviously the Jazz Chism trade, which I'm going to bring up. I think you're doing that because you want to prepare for life after, just in case, life after Juan Soto. Because if you lose Soto, that's your guy. He's got what, 3 years of control, I believe.
Yes, and yes, he's very cheap. He's making $700K this year. I think he makes.
You guys
he's going to be making $2 or $5 million next year. Yeah,
you fleeced the crap out of the Marlins,
and he's still young too. I think he's turning 26. If he's not 26 this year already, yeah. So he's very young.
When I saw that trade, I thought, is Derek Jeter still working for the Marlins? Trading all these guys to the Yankees. But anyway, the thing with pitching is the Yankees pitching has been a very bumpy roller coaster and I'm not going to lie. This is the first year I've actually been watching the Yankees consistently. And from what you got out of Carlos Rodon against Boston on the biggest stage on national television could really start to wake him up, which is exactly what you guys need. And the way that who pitched yesterday for the Yankees? I didn't get to see the game.
Luis Hill. Luis Hill. He has like an inning limits issue that's going to be coming up soon.
Yeah, he looked sharp too, minus the home run he gave up. Like the Yankees pitching, if they can finally, work up to par the way they were at the beginning of the season, you got yourself a pretty nasty rotation. You've got yourself a little bit of some a la Roger Clemens, a little bit of some a la Andy Pettit, a little bit of some David Wells. You get where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
You'll have a dominant pitching staff. And I think that Jazz Chism cannot be the only move. You need to go out and get another pitcher. If I'm the Yankees, as much as I want this dude to be a Met, maybe a nice reunion with Jameson Taillon, maybe a nice trade with the White Sox. If Hal Steinbrenner wants to keep doing the Yankee way of getting all these superstars, because like my thing with the Jazz Chism trade, at first I thought that was a bad trade because I thought Rengifo was a much better option for you, and it would have cost you less. You love the flashy options, so go out there and get Garrett Crochet or Tarek Skubal, or say screw it, maybe go after somebody like a Hunter Green. Be aggressive at this trade deadline because that is what the Yankees need to do. Be aggressive.
Yeah, and
you're going for it all. You're going for it all this year.
Just want to say, with all due respect, I pass on Jameson Taillon because I have one rule that I lived my life, and this is one rule that I always put in the back of my head. If somebody is your ex, they're your ex for a reason. If somebody was in your life and you got rid of them, you got rid of them for a reason. So yes, Jameson Taillon, he looks amazing with the Chicago Cubs. He looks good in the pinstripes that the Cubs have. I do not want him in with the New York Yankees. Again, if he's pitching in the National League where ballparks suit the style of pitcher that he is, absolutely. If he's going to go to the Mets, that'd be a great pickup for you guys, JJ, because you guys have a ballpark that's conducive to the style of pitching that he does. He is a fly ball pitcher, and let's be frank, your guys' infield is way better defensively than our infield, and he needs great defense behind him in order for him to be effective. So I pass on Jameson Taillon. I do like the other pieces that you bring up. Grace, I'll let you go because my guy Cadzilla also put it in the chat. So I bring up some names that Cadzilla had, and we'll get ready to start wrapping things up because it's 12:07. Go ahead, Grace.
12:07.
JJ, I just wanted to let you know, JD Davis is available. So
shut up. Stop.
Hey, no, you
stop
started
right
it. Speaking of bringing people back, this is your chance. Just, there's something to think about. I just saw. Oh, go ahead, Hector. Maybe you're bringing this up. I just saw John Heyman tweeted that the Yanks are interested in Yandy.
Yeah, this was Cadzilla.
Okay,
all right,
okay,
so
cool,
yeah,
you're
interested
go ahead,
in
read it,
every
read
player.
it, read it.
Player.
Go ahead, Grace. You can read it off. Read it off.
Yanks interested in Rengifo, Scott, Fairbanks, Finnegan, and Urkig. I don't even know how to say that. Who is that? Many others, but it's an extreme seller's market at the moment. Pin and infield / versatility seem to be the focus, but prices very high. Yeah, who is Urkig?
I don't know who Urkeg is. I'm gonna figure that out. That may be a misspell from
AJ, do you know who that
Cadzilla.
is? Oh, okay. No, it's not. That's what John Heyman said too.
That's
the guy for the A's. He's the setup guy. Not
Oh, yes.
Okay, yeah. Hard pass on that, but
well, he's with the A's, so he can't be that mad at
I
us.
will gladly take that dude. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, he has great stuff coming out of the bullpen.
His numbers are pretty decent.
Yeah.
I don't know. Closing it or being a setup guy in the American League West is not like being a setup guy in the American League East.
You know what I will say is this. You mentioned you don't want your exes coming back for a reason. How's Marcus, by the way? Has he complained to the fans yet? Has he?
Oh, he's not an ex, bro. What Marcus Stroman was for
he's
the New
my
York
ex.
That's
our ex.
That's somebody that you saw at the club and you walked past them, but then you circle back years later. That's what Marcus Stroman is, right? That's Marcus Stroman is the person that you had a crush on in high school. It didn't work out, but you guys found each other 15 years later on Facebook. That's what Marcus Stroman is for the New York Yankees. Go ahead, Grace.
To me, he's an ex.
Marcus Stroman was dating your little brother, your little sister, rather. Marcus Stroman's dating your little sister, and you were kind of like, he's pretty cute, though. Maybe let
that's
a few
what it
years
is.
go by.
Later,
Let a decent amount of time go by. We can't just be taking the Mets, scrap. But hey, maybe it's been a while. Like maybe give him a chance.
How did it feel having our sloppy seconds with JD Davis?
Listen, it was disgusting. Listen, you know what was funny? This is what was funny. When I was at the game, the first game of the Subway Series, when Jeff McNeil hit that home run, Jeff McNeil was up to bat, and me and a Met fan, we were talking, and we were literally talking about how both fan base despise each other's second baseman. Like I would say how Yankee fans cannot stand Gleyber Torres, and he would say how Met fans can't stand Jeff McNeil. And I asked him, literally, I asked him, would you do a Jeff McNeil for Gleyber Torres trade? And
No.
hold on, right after I said that, Jeff McNeil hit the home run, and he looked at me, he was like, "Nah, I'm not trading Jeff McNeil."
And what was even funnier,
right after I asked him, "Would you trade Jeff McNeil for Gleyber Torres?" Jeff McNeil hits the home run.
You forgot to mention this. You said you hate both second base. We hate McNeil. You hate Torres. Both of them homered in that game. That's actually hysterical to me. They both
of them did. And then Erica said JD Davis was more like a one-night stand. Yeah, absolutely.
I wish he was a one-night stand. I had to deal with that dude for 3 years.
JD Davis is the guy at the bar. They're like, last call. And you're like, oh, shit, gotta go home with someone. Who's around? Right. Anybody, you'll be fine.
Last thing before we close things out. JJ, I'm gonna let you go just because me and Grace, we're gonna close it out. Just let the people know where they could find you. And of course, JJ, open door policy. You're more than welcome to join us anytime in the morning to have these convos, bro.
So where you go? Where are you going for the trade deadline then?
I'm doing Jason 161 River Ave. He's a Yankee channel. He asked me and Grace to jump on for like 30 minutes. I would have stayed longer, but he asked me for that, and I got something to do on Twitter at 2:00. So I'm doing a Twitter space for the trade. So if you want to jump with me for the trade deadlines on Twitter, you're more than welcome to come with me.
I can definitely do that. I mean, I might, to be honest, I might run a trade deadline stream my own because last year I did. And when I tell you that I had a few of my buddies that were Yankee fans on, their reaction to the Kenyon Middleton move was priceless. Absolutely.
Shout out to Kenyon Middleton, bro.
Kenyon Middleton and Spencer Howard.
Shout out to those two Yankees legends.
Hey, you got Jazz. I hope you like Jazz.
Is better when baseball in New York
are both
elite.
Good.
Exactly.
There you go. There you go. I say it all the time. It's so much better when both teams are in it. And both team fan bases are in it as well. JJ, my guy, appreciate you like always. See you around on these streets. Make sure you guys go follow King JJ on X, on YouTube, and on everything. So I'm going to switch things up real quick. There's an announcement that I want to make, and I was going to save it for the end. Let me just move this real quick. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I just want to shout out my guy, TC Stills, who is in the chat right now. TC Stills says, good morning, my brother, Hector, Grace, and King JJ. Shout out to TC Stills. TC Stills was my co-host for Yankees Morning Brew for more than a year. I want to say a year and a half. I used to jump on with TC Stills every Tuesdays, Thursdays, and sometimes Friday morning. So shout out to TC Stills. That's my brother. That's my guy. I love him. I bring that up just to let everybody know. You guys have been following Morning Brew Sports for more than a year and some change, right? We have some changes that are going on here at Morning Brew Sports, and I wanted to take some time just to let everybody in the community knows. Our good friend Celso Porto, my brother, he is stepping away from YouTube for Morning Brew Sports. He had to figure life out. He had to go out there and handle his business. So life happens, right? He is still a family member of Morning Brew Sports. It's just he would not be able to do the day-to-day like he was doing before. I wouldn't be where I'm at right now if it wasn't for Celso. How I am when it comes to being a content creator, how I am when it comes to being on camera, everything that you guys see in front of you is because Celso helped me battle through the social anxieties that I dealt with for many years growing up as a child. Celso, I'm getting emotional saying this, but I love that man. That's my brother. He will always be a part of Morning Brew Sports. It's just things change, and I understand that. I hold nothing against him, and hopefully you guys can support him on his new endeavors. He has his channel that he has, his Positively Porto show, but Celso is my brother, and I wish him nothing else but the best. Like I said, I wouldn't have the platform I have right now if it wasn't for Celso. I wouldn't be on SNY right now if it wasn't for Celso. I wouldn't be a part of Latino sports right now if it wasn't for Celso. So I just always have to thank Celso. I appreciate him, and I appreciate all of you guys in the chat. I love you all. Grace, any last words as I try to fight back these tears?
Yeah, absolutely. Life happens, and we're a family here, we're a community, and we all understand. And of course, Celso is still around, and he's still part of our family forever. But sometimes situations change, and sometimes they change back. Sometimes they, you know, morph into something new, and who knows where the journey will lead us all.
Mhm.
But we love Celso, obviously, and he's still around, just changing a little bit. But he's definitely still around and always loved. So it's nothing but love here.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely. And again, Anna Marie, love you in the chat. Anna Marie, definitely love you. Anna Marie is one of the first ones from day ones. Appreciate you. My guy Keith Saunders, this is my guy. I've known Keith for more than, I want to say, we're going on 12, 13, maybe even 15 years, maybe even more than that. Keith, when we first started on the Nights of Degen, was one of the first people in the chats. I've known Keith, like I said, for so many years outside of me being a content creator. Keith is my brother from the Bronx, from Pelham. Keith is also a former service member. Like I said, I worked at Citywide as a supervisor. I got my guy Keith a job there. He was driving ambulances in the Bronx. So shout out to my guy Keith. Again, one of the first ones from day one. Again, shout out to TC Stills. Uncle Grandpa Tats, who is in the building as well. Big time, Jerry. Appreciate you like always. Erica Garcia, appreciate you. Austin Cruz, appreciate you. And like always, guys, make sure you stay hydrated, right? Say something positive about yourself. Always be positive and warm towards other people. We ain't going nowhere. Myself and Grace will still be rocking out every Tuesdays and Thursday morning. Nick's Morning Brew is not going on where. Morning Brew Sports isn't going on anywhere. We just have to elevate and we just have to adapt to our new reality. So make sure you guys tune in next week, Tuesday, August 6th. Special guest Bernie Williams, former Yankee legend, former Yankee World Series center fielder Bernie Williams will be here on the Morning Brew Sports next week, Tuesday. Make sure you guys tune in. We're going to go live with our regular show at 11 o'clock. So from 11 to 12:15, Grace and I will be doing our regular show. And then 12:15, that's when Bernie Williams will join us. And we'll be rocking out with Bernie Williams for the rest of the morning. But until next time, deuces. I'm Hector. That's Grace. Drink some water. Say something positive. Let's go, Yankees. Deuces.